Do we want a driver with personality on the racetrack or not? Because at this point, I'm a bit confused, but what I'm not confused about is the incredible action we saw at Nashville Superspeedway. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, it's Taylor Kitchen and welcome back to Above the Yellow Line on the ATYL Media channel. And on the show, we talk about NASCAR all the time. And this weekend, we're chatting about all the action at Nashville Superspeedway. All-night races across all three NASCAR National Series, which was so fun. On Friday, Raja Caruth got the win, holding off Corey Heim and Lane Riggs. A convincing and fantastic win for him. A dominant win on Saturday for Justin Allgaier. Congrats to him as well. And of course, on Sunday, another dominant performance by Ryan Blaney, winning the Cracker Barrel 400. Ryan Blaney led 139 laps to capture his 14th career victory, and it's no secret that this season for the 12 team has not been great. 5 DNFs. 5. For a team at Penske, not awesome. They're Penske perfect. We're not seeing Penske perfect out of this 12 car. They've had glimpses of hope and promise this season when ultimately maybe some bad pit stops, awful luck, and maybe on-track collisions have ended what could have been a good day for that 12 team. Kind of the same goes for what happened at Charlotte. Blaney was making his way through the field. Unfortunately, did not finish that race due to an incident on track. But this is where things really came together. We all know that after the off weekend, Penske made some changes to the 12 pit crew. Keystone France came in, Skip Flores left that 12 car, and since then they've been becoming more consistent on pit road. And this was the case here between strategy calls from Jonathan Hassler to excellent execution by the pit crew and even just the driver himself. This 12 car put together a phenomenal day to win this race. And I've got to give a shout out to Jonathan Hassler here with the call to really make track position the priority. We knew this would be the case, but Jonathan really made sure of this, running longer in the first stage, and then after that stage, to start stage 2 on pit road, only took 2 tires, got out on pit road first, and then ultimately gave Ryan Blaney the track position he needed to take control of this race. So again, phenomenal day for this 12 team, finally putting everything together. And there is a very interesting stat for Team Penske that I want to point out that was pointed out to me by Dom Joseph. To do this though, let's take a look back at their 2024 season. If you remember last year, Austin Cindric kicked off the wins for the organization at Worldwide Technology Raceway. A few races later, we had Penske's defending champion get the next win, and that was for Ryan Blaney at Iowa. Then you move on to Nashville last year, where Joey Logano got the win and then ultimately went on to win the championship last year. Let's flash forward to this season because you're going to realize history has kind of been repeating itself. Austin Cindric kicked off the winning ways for Team Penske this year, of course, at Talladega. Then the defending champion, which in this case would be Joey Logano, got the next win at Texas. And then looky here, Ryan Blaney, the next Penske car, getting the win at Nashville. The only thing we don't know is if Ryan Blaney is going to be the 2025 champion or not. And there's plenty of time to sort that out. But again, trends that just keep repeating themselves potentially. Not to jinx anybody, but I thought that was definitely worth noting as we go into our results. So Ryan Blaney wins the race. In the second position, we have Carson Hocevar. Excellent results this season. Ultimately, last weekend was a heartbreaker for him. He had a car that could have won the race. Unfortunately, though, blew an engine. But I have so many great things to say about Carson, the results he's putting together at Spire Motorsports. We're going to talk about him a little bit later in the show, though. But a result for Carson like this is fantastic. I think he will win this season. I just don't know where. None of us do. But nevertheless, awesome for that 77 car. Speaking of the number 700 starts for Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin finishing this race in the third position on baby watch as he and his fiance are awaiting the arrival of their baby boy. So a preempted congrats to him and his fiance and the entire family there. But for Denny Hamlin, had a car that could have contended to win the race, ultimately just was not close enough. One thing I wanted to point out about this 11 team, though, is a fuel issue. For 2 races in a row, we've seen issues with getting this 11 car packed full of fuel. Last weekend, I believe it was an issue with the car itself, trying to get the fuel in there. This week, not really sure. Couldn't really figure out a clear answer on it. I don't know if they were just pushing the time that they were spending on pit road and ultimately just didn't get packed full. I really don't know, but 2 weeks in a row with issues getting this car full. Luckily, this race at Nashville, it was in the middle of the event, not at the end where it could have truly impacted their result. But still, something to keep your eye out for. We have Joey Logano in fourth, fifth William Byron, and the rest of these results kind of embody just rebounds during this race. For Bubba Wallace, he had a speeding penalty early in the event, came back to finish inside the top 10. We have Eric Jones, no real rebounds for him that day. I know he made some contact, I believe, with Christopher Bell during the race, resulting in a caution. Christopher Bell made his way back into the top 10, but for Eric Jones, Legacy Motor Club has been putting together pretty impressive results. If it's not both of their cars in one race, it's at least one or the other, and for this race, it was for Eric Jones, his last top 10 coming at Texas just a few weeks ago, so congrats to Eric Jones on a top 10. For Kyle Larson, an incredible rebound for this team, did not qualify well, did not start this race well. They came down pit road to make several adjustments to get this car better, and then they figured they had a loose tire at one point in this race. They had to come back down pit road to fix that up and rebounded for a top 10. You think about Tyler Reddick finishing in that 9th position around the same time when Kyle Larson came down to pit road to fit that loose tire. Tyler Reddick was like, I think I have a tire going down. This was towards the middle of the race. Tyler Reddick went to pit road. Sure enough, there was a puncture in one of the tires, came back out on track to finish inside the top 10. So a lot of stories about rebounds inside the top 10. I did want to note my race winning pick for this week, if you watch pre-race Pulse on Racing America, was Ross Chastain. Unfortunately, finished outside the top 10, but right outside the top 10 in that 11th position. Now, for one DNF I want to mention, because I was about to go on a whole thing about how Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has been doing so well this season and nobody is talking about it. And I'm still going to do that. So let me kind of expand on this a little bit. Heading into this event, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was 13th in points. He had 0 DNFs and had completed 99.92% of the laps this season. That's according to RacingReference.com. Now, his results haven't been flashy. He only has 3 results inside the top 10, but he has been consistent in terms of getting points when it matters, in terms of finishing races, and staying out of trouble. And unfortunately, the staying out of trouble piece of things ended today at Nashville, resulting in his first DNF of the season. Around lap 106, Carson Hocevar just dove to the inside of the 47, entering one of the turns, and Stenhouse was coming down the track as he was entering the turn, and contact was made, and there you have it. Now, depending on who you ask, it could be Stenhouse's fault for knowing he probably wasn't clear and just, going down the track anyways. Sure, the other thing is Hocevar just dove it into the corner and maybe shouldn't have been that aggressive. And there's the other side of the story too, again, depending on who you ask. Now, after the race, Stenhouse said he'd like to do something about this. He was pretty upset about it, but it would be pretty expensive if he did do something, hinting at the $75,000 fine that he got for fighting Kyle Busch at the All-Star race last year. So no immediate retaliation from Stenhouse, but he is going to remember this one. Now, for Hocevar, he said, quote, I haven't seen the replay. I have seen a bunch of people just kind of do the same sort of move and get shipped. And I think he was the only one to wreck, or for me to wreck him, or maybe there was one more, but I feel like that was just a common move with how big of a run I had, but I didn't see it. So that was Carson Hocevar after the race. So we'll see. Here's the thing. I do like Carson Hocevar. So, but bias aside, he's not making many friends out there. He's really not making many friends out there, and I don't think he even cares about that. But here's the thing. As Carl Edwards said on the broadcast, if you keep making enemies, they're not going to let you win championships. And we had the same conversation about this deja vu in 2022 when Ross Chastain was making enemies left and right. He made the championship 4, and we were all like, my God, Ross is not going to win the championship because he keeps making enemies. So I don't know. We have this same conversation over and over and over with these younger drivers or these newer drivers to the Cup Series as they're trying to feel out the competition, and they come in just being a little over-aggressive. So my thing is, can we pardon the over-aggressive racing and make excuses for its consequences at this point? No. Carson Hocevar is an aggressive racer. There are going to be consequences for that. Unfortunately, those consequences fall on other drivers, and then in turn, he has to be okay with getting dealt with what he deals himself. But it is nice to have a driver on track with a little bit of personality again. But it is just learning and evolving and learning when to make moves and when not to make moves, when to be over-aggressive, when not to. It's a push and pull type situation here, and I know you all are going to say this. Carson Hocevar has had these tendencies all the way back to truck. I know, I watched him in truck. I'm with you on that. But again, it is the decisions that these drivers make, and are they willing to reap the consequences of their own actions? And at this point, we're just going to have to see how it plays out. I don't know how much else I can say about that, but we're just going to have to see how this plays out. And even too, in the next few weeks, if Ricky has an opportunity, are we going to see some retaliation? And that I don't really know. But unfortunate for Ricky, though, he was having such a strong start to the season, sitting really well in points inside the playoff picture. Now he sits 18th in points. That's what one bad day can do. So super unfortunate there. Speaking of points, to update you on this one small thing called the in-season bracket challenge, there are 32 drivers that could have made the field, and Nashville was the last race for these drivers to bid for their spots. Brad Keselowski made that final and 32nd spot. So over the next 3 races, these races are going to seed the drivers for how they will compete against each other in this 5-race bracket challenge, starting at Atlanta and going to Indianapolis. So wanted to keep you aware of that Brad Keselowski did make that last spot over Shane Van Gisbergen. But let's roll into our race rating above or below the yellow line. This race was so good. I know we had plenty of cautions and it was a little messy towards the beginning, but it was still so good. The battles for the wins for these stages in stage 1 and stage 2 specifically, I'm thinking about that 3-way battle between Byron, Blaney, and Hamlin, was flawless. It was just so enticing, had me on the edge of my seat. It was just so good. If I were to have rated the 600, I didn't do an episode last week, I would have given it an 89%. This race was on par with that, just slightly better. I'm going to give it a 92 above the yellow line. Quite frankly, maybe one of my favorite races this year, just because it felt like throughout the entirety of the event, we were having constant battles. There were constant challenges for position. The strategy was really interesting. Altogether, Nashville produced an exciting and a thrilling race. What are your thoughts on the Cracker Barrel 400? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of Above the Yellow Line. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel and you turn on the notification bells so you know when we post. But coming up this coming weekend is Michigan. It should be a very exciting race, and I'm looking forward to talking with you all about it on the next episode of ATYL. But until next time, I'll see ya. Bye.